Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to the Swannery and Marrick's Koi Pond. Monday, end of July. I just thought I'd give an update on the pond and how I'm getting on with the ozone. There's the koi. Crystal clear water, that's one thing I'm pleased with the ozone. I did mention in one of my last videos that when the sun's out, you know, it does look like this pond's got a bit of a green tint, but it hasn't really, because it's just all the vegetation that's reflecting into it, you know. It's all the greenery that's reflecting into it, but once that sun goes in, or if it's sunny all day, you know, you get to the evening when there's no sun on it and it is crystal. The shirodi on these fish really showing out, you know. I mean, that kahako down there, that is 4 foot deep. It's not quite on the bottom, it's 4 foot deep. Look at the shirodi showing through. Now before, you could always see the fish, you could always see the bottom drain on the bottom, but there was always a yellow green tint in the water. But since I've been using the ozone, that is completely gone. There we are, look, that kahako is 5 foot deep. Look at the shirodi, look at the white on that. Look at this Becco swimming towards us, look. No colourants in that water. We've got a wren nesting in there. I didn't think I was going to get any birds nesting this year because, you know, back at the end of March, this pergola, this pond was totally covered with a tarp. So we could get the fiberglass and done on the pond, and consequently never saw any birds nesting under here because obviously they couldn't get in. But anyway, we took the tarp down hoping that I wasn't too late, and I thought I was because nothing occupied these nest boxes. But then just lately we've seen a wren going in and out of there, and it's got young because you can hear the young ones chirping there, you know. I mean, those wrens, they lay between 6 and 8 eggs. I mean, how they all squeeze in there, and the mum, you know, the mum gets inside there with them when she brings stuff back. That's amazing. That must be as tight as anything in there. Ah, there's more lanterns, really pleased for them. I didn't get them from Perfect Aquatics. Bit of a bad experience there with Perfect Aquatics. Felt a bit disappointed. Been using them for years and years and years. Spend a few £100 there a year. They got exactly the same pair over there. Had them over there for about 2.5 years, which is about as long as I've seen these ones at Garden Centre in St Albans. But I thought, no, I'd give Perfect Aquatic my custom, you know. Inquired about them, loads and loads of emails, tell a lie, not emails, WhatsApp messages. Eventually got something out of them that they couldn't remember what the price was and they will find out. Further messages went on, no joy. Went on their website, on their inquiry form, didn't even have the decency to get back to me. So you know what, went over to this garden centre at St Albans where I'd seen these like 2.5 years ago. There's 3 sets over there, and the sun must have been shining down on me, as well as a bit of karma, because when we went over there, Liz was over in the corner waving her arms up and down while I was looking at the aces. I thought, look at her silly girl, what's she up to? Anyway, next minute I felt a tug off my shoulder and she grabbed hold of me. She said, come here, come and have a look at this. Anyway, she marched me over to where these were. and there was 3 sets all stripped out, all on the ground. A couple of them had broken bases and a couple of them had a couple of cracked tops. But anyway, out of the 3 we managed to make one good set out of the 3, and it was 70% off. I couldn't believe it, 70% off. So you know what, Crafty, perfect to credits. I'm actually quite pleased he didn't come back to me. But anyway, that's history now. Something I learned a long time ago. Well, I didn't learn it actually, I just knew it. It's just common sense knowing it, because I did run my own business. And you've got to look after your customers. You can't ignore your customers. You know, I should think twice about purchasing anything from there again, because anything they've got over there you can buy cheaper online anyway. Anyway, getting back to this ozone, would I do it again? Yes, absolutely, definitely. Absolutely, definitely. What have I noticed? Well, the first thing you notice is the clarity of the pond. That's the first thing you notice. The second thing I've noticed, what's it been running now for what? Month, 5 weeks? My homemade upflow filter, I was having to clean that out twice a week on a Wednesday and a Sunday. 4 or 5 times, boiling it for 4 or 5 times before putting it back online. And I have noticed that I can go a week now, I can clean that out every Sunday, and it still only takes 4 boils to clean that thoroughly. The water's just so much cleaner. That's the other difference. Another thing I noticed was before I fitted the ozone, I mean, this basically is a new pond now, having been fiberglassed at the end of March, first week in April. And when I was in the swimming pool, I did Alperex the swimming pool, put all the fish back in here, everything was fine. And then, oh, here we go again, flicking and flashing off the bottom drain. Thought, here we go. Well, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do nothing, I'm going to sit on my hands. And I sat on my hands and obviously fired up the ozone. And since that ozone's been running, there's a couple of lazy flicks every now and again, but they're really lazy, there's nothing vicious about them. Whereas before I fired up the ozone, they was really going for it, you know, rubbing against that bottom drain. Well, that has all disappeared. They're on the food, but then they always was on the food, you know, and I do feed quite heavy. Is there anything I'd change about the ozone? Yes, probably. I will probably change that mixing tube. They call it an ozone reactor. Basically, it's just a acrylic tube with a load of veins in it to break the water up. You know, the bubbles, the air, where you're pumping air through it, just breaks all the bubbles up into smaller bubbles. But having done some research, I did know that it was not the most effective method of mixing ozone with the water, but I didn't want to go spending a lot of money on a protein skimmer if I felt it didn't work, you know. So I think what I would do next season, I might swap out. I mean, it's still early days, it's only been running 5 or 6 weeks. I'm still fine tuning it to find the optimum flow rate through it, i.e. the water flow rate through the tube, and also the air going through the ozone generator. I've got a flow meter on the air line going into the air generator, so I'm still fine tuning it. But maybe next season, maybe I might invest in a protein skimmer. They do like their watermelon. Mrs. Danichi. Ooh, nice lanterns. Planted some mint there, hopefully that'll keep the rats away in the winter time, being that's an evergreen. And a little bit of a tidy up in here. Still got to find some space for this. It's only 7x6 this field wells, and it is chock-a-block. That is the ozone generator there. That is the flow meter for the air going into the generator. And down there, that is the mixing tube. Alexa, turn on air pump.
Okay.
You can see, just turned on the air pump, see if we can see any air. Yeah, see all the bubbles going through there, look. And the idea is, those veins chop up all the air and water, turning it into fine bubbles, and by the end of that tube, they are really fine bubbles. Alexa, turn on ozone.
Okay.
The ozone generator just fired up. I've got this coming on at 7 o'clock in the morning, goes off at 11 o'clock in the morning on a timer, and then at 11 o'clock my air source heat pump comes on at 11 o'clock because I don't have it running during the night, I have it running during the day because to take advantage of the solar panels on the house roof. So the air source heat pump will turn on at 11 o'clock, you know, just as the sun's hitting those solar panels, and that will generally run till about half two in the afternoon, where it brings it up to 24 degrees and then it switches off, and then I will turn this ozone generator on manually after the air source goes off. But yeah, I would do it again, you know, because I'll tell you why. See that? Shan't be buying that anymore. Total waste of time. Well, it is for me. I'm not saying it isn't for other people, but for me, the main reason I wanted that, together with this, or rather, another reason why I bought the ozone, was to get rid of the chloramines. This says removes harmful pollutants, detoxifies ammonium nitrite, chlorine, chloramines, acid rain, expired medications, heavy metals. Well, done nothing for chloramines, done nothing for colourants in the water, so I shan't be using that again. But the ozone has definitely made a difference to the chloramines. Hasn't reduced it, hasn't turned them to zero, because I have got to replace the carbon in that big blue, because that definitely is exhausted. But it's definitely, the ozone has definitely reduced the chloramine level in that pond. So, you know, it is actually doing something that it says it's going to do. Look how clear that is. That's a white backboard behind that. Look, and then if you look through there, look, maybe there's the slightest tinge, but you know, before this ozone was fitted, that would definitely have been coloured, that water. Ooh, nice lanterns. Well, I think I'll leave this here. Oh, that's, as you can see there, all the bubbles coming out that last return. That is obviously the air pump and the ozone. But there's no ozone coming up there. That would have exhausted itself. Ozone is a very unstable gas and it tries to revert back. You know, whatever it doesn't kill, it tries to revert back, so it will lose its third oxygen atom and it will try to attach itself to any oxygen, I think they call them free radicals, where it's not an O2 atom, it's just single molecules, and then the third molecule, oh, I'm not saying this very well, I'm not very scientific. I understand it, when I read it I understand it, but trying to put it back into words again, I struggle a little bit. But basically any ozone that isn't used up killing any bacteria or pollutants or anything like that, it will try and revert back to an oxygen state where any the third atom or molecule with that O3 will connect to what they call a free radical oxygen molecule, and that will turn that into O2, which is a proper oxygen atom. You could stick your nose over there all day long and you won't smell any ozone coming out of there. That is just pure oxygen. Well, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Hope that last bit come across all right. Made a bit of a mess of that really. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like the thumb button, hit the like thumb button, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.